him maybe once or twice in that time. And it's like, it's all good. It's like, listen, man, I don't have an axe to grind with that dude. This is so long ago. It's almost fucking 30 years ago. I mean, but that dude was about as felonious joke thief as there may have ever been.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, he did it to a lot of people. And I guess he paid the price. That's for sure.
Well, he paid the price because, you're the fucking man in the iron mask because, you would hear stories that there was a headliner at the Riviera in Las Vegas, and he closed with that joke where the two kids are eating breakfast, and he goes, how about some fucking oatmeal? And the mom slaps the kid for saying fuck. And you ask the other kid, what do you want for breakfast? I don't want any fucking oatmeal. So the headliner closes the first show with that. Mencia's the host at the Riviera Sharippa's room. He closes with it as he's doing his set, the beginning of the second show. The headliner comes out of the room. He's literally chasing him in the showroom, trying to catch him for using his shit. It even goes outside the Riviera. So I didn't really work there, and I saw Sharippa early on, and Sharippa's like, you probably want to know why I never booked you. And I'm like, yeah, why is that? Why didn't you book me? He goes, I had Mencia, same jokes, half the price.
So when you started out the Comedy Store, and then what? You just started touring, or how'd that go? Like, when did you get?
I started to go on the road. I was working over there at the Ice House, so I kind of tried to stay out of Hollywood until I had a little bit of some legs, or consistently. I could be consistently funny. It didn't come natural to me.
Oh, you stayed over there at the Ice House at Bob Fisher's place?
I stayed over there. I worked at Igby's and
really?
The Comedy Store and the Improv, especially the Improv on Melrose. It's a tough room, man. So I stayed out of there.
It is a tough room.
I had some consistency, and so for a few years. So I was over there hosting the shows on the weekends. Not a bad gig, man. And I got a chance to get on stage and host this stuff and
at the Ice House,
write stuff at the Ice House. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a classic old room. I mean, it's weird. I when I was living over in Highland Park, I'd go work there because it was close. And Fisher would let you could do an hour there. Now, I mean, was it ever a really popular place, or was it always sort of off to the side?
Yeah, it was pretty popular for the area. I think they pulled from, Pasadena and Altadena. There was nobody from Hollywood going.
Kippadata. He used to come in.
Steve Bluestein.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this dude, Ron Jones and Flame. Ron Jones and Flame. So Ron Jones would go into this box at the end. You're a fucking magician. Fitting into a fucking box at the end. Like nobody knows he's in the fucking box.
Right.
So he says to me, when you go up there, vamp a little because I got to get out of this box. So, he wraps it up. He said he just disappears and Smokey's in the box. And the box looks way too small for this guy to fit, so nobody is going to assume that he's in the box.
Yeah.
So I go up there and I said, listen, take care of yourself. We have another show coming in, so if you guys could get out as quickly as you can. I leave the stage, and as I get back there, they say, man, you're supposed to – that dude's still in the box. And I look, and people are starting to get up, and he's in the box. And now we're like, what the fuck? So he's in the box.
Yeah.
Probably in the box 35 minutes.
Come on.
He comes out. He's drenched in sweat. He makes a move for me, grabs my shirt. He's pulling me towards him. He's going to fucking punch me. He's like, you're supposed to do some time to find that fucking box. So he's in that box waiting for the room to clear. Like, he doesn't want to come out so people see he's in the box.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So when did you start doing the big – where the hell – like, I watched a special of yours a while back. It looked like you were playing the biggest, a room in the world.
I did one in San Antonio in 2009. I did 85 minutes live at the AT&T Center where the Spurs play.
Right.
That was a long haul, man. There was like 16,500 people in there.
That was crazy, man.
That was wild, man.
Because you just try up there trying
to
manage that room.
Owned it. Yeah. Imagine, man. And I had them, I had them all in one place. I didn't have any hot spots. I didn't have anybody yelling out shit. I had them. I don't think you could do that now with politics being the way they are.
Yeah.
You're going to get some bullshit going on. But
I saw you, though. You were locked in, man.
I was in there, man. Locked in there, brother.
But I used to see you come up like when I was starting out, or not starting out, but I mean, you're only a couple years older than me, but you used to go up to San Francisco a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's why I met you guys up.
Yeah, I think it's the first time I met you in San Francisco. You come in to headline.
Comedy Day in San Francisco, even though they don't do it anymore, was really one of the coolest things, one of the greatest things that I've ever been a part of to this day. Was that day in the park and having everybody be cool and everybody from different clubs out there and everybody's trying to bring their best guys and Jose Simone, up there and Ungallo and all these dudes, all in the same spot. Really the only time you'd ever see those guys all in the same spot. Yeah. Johnny Steele and Johnny Lopez. Yeah. Johnny Lopez.
Yeah, that's his name.
Alex Bennett. We met on Alex Bennett.
That motherfucker. Oh, my God. He'd just sit there and talk about, like, anyone else got a stomach ache? I got a stomach ache. Does anyone have a stomach ache?
I know, man. I was in there one time with Al Goldstein from Screw Magazine.
Oh,
he was tongue kissing young chicks in there to get tickets to go to a club.
Just a whole buffet of Jewish pigs.
Oh, man, those dudes were Al Goldstein was nasty, man.
It was like by the time I got there, no one even really, the audience never showed up there and no one was really listening, but you still sat there with three comics. You get up at 6 a.m, go sit there for 3 hours to listen.
Keep you the whole time.
To listen to Alex complain about shit.
And he would do those remotes, like he'd do them at the Walnut Creek Punchline.
Oh, the worst.
He'd do it in San Francisco. They do, I think maybe Sacramento did them.
Oh, they did them everywhere, dude. I did it at a fitness center in Stockton or something. Fucking 6 a.m, you're doing comedy at a fucking fitness center.
I know, man. Wow, bro.
Yeah, man. I remember all those guys up there.
Bobby Slayton. One of the best ever. Bobby Slayton.
So when you started touring heavy, what year was that? When you were just doing when you really started to hit the clubs? So what you go to you do the Ice House and then you do Igby's for a while, and then what? You start to come into the improvs and you start doing.
Then I start going a little bit of the improv. I met Arsenio. It's funny. I had a time at the improv on Melrose, and I would always talk myself out of going. I'm not gonna go. I'm going to go 7:45. I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
At that time, I wasn't going to go. I ended up going, and I meet Arsenio. His show had just started. It had been February of '89. And Scott LaRose had gone up before me. He's like, do you mind if I go ahead of you?
Scott LaRose.
While Scott LaRose was up, Arsenio and his crew come in. I ended up getting Arsenio out of that. Scott LaRose went up because they had another time somewhere else. I think he ended up doing it later, but I became almost like a staple on Arsenio. That helped a lot to be able to do that.
Oh, when he first started with the talk show? Yeah. Scott LaRose. I hadn't heard that name in a while. Getting pictures
Remember, he was doing all the commercials, man. That dude did all the commercials for maybe a 5 or 6 year period.
Yeah, him and Kevin West was the other kid.
Kevin West.
He was at the Comedy Store. Little guy, little mousy guy. Kind of looks like Scott LaRose.
Man, crazy. Dude.
Yeah, so Arsenio. Now, when did you, when you look at your audience, from the beginning, is it did you find that you had a pretty immediate Latino following? Was it big?
No, I was, I was moderately amusing. I wasn't edgy. I wasn't political.
Yeah.
I was doing stuff that, that was more Latino, flavored in, some politics, more about, Taco Bell stuff.
Yeah.
Car named after that, mundane shit, So not really. And at that time, there wasn't really a huge amount of Latinos even going to clubs.
Why is that, man?
So it was just a different feeling for them. That was almost very, very a white thing to do, was to go to a comedy club. So over the years, they would start to come out. They didn't really know how to behave. They'd fight. They'd become like, shut the fuck up. There's no decorum. They try to leave on checks. And gradually, they started to get an identity and know how to behave themselves when they went to a show. But when I started doing theaters, they would yell out shit like thinking they're helping.
Yeah.
There would be full-on blows in the crowd. And, I ended up, even back then, I ended up hiring my own guys to patrol the room because without those guys, you couldn't get through your set.
But you were making most of your money just doing headlining sets?
Yeah. In the 96, 97, I was already making over 6 figures a year.
Oh, so you were one of those guys. You were like 96, 97. Because I never understood it, but you did door deals back then, right?
I did door deals, and I remember because I did a lot of the improvs, and you'd stay 2 weeks like in Addison. That club's still there. my goal was 16 shows in 2 weeks. My goal was to make $1,000 a show. Right. And, over a couple of years being there, I think I'd made like 18,000. I was so happy that I would, finally got to my goal of $1,000 a show.
But you could but on a door deal, you could have made more.
Could have made more. It was inconsistent, Yeah. And a lot of times, sometimes you catch a good week.
It's a lot of shows,
and
dude.
And all that stuff. A lot of shows.
Jesus, man. It's a lot of shows.
Brutal.
So, where'd you find it? So you just built your reputation on the road. You were doing little TV sets here and there, regular on Arsenio. You do the Tonight Show with Carson or no?
I did.
You
I
did?
November of 91. Yeah, it's funny because I was a couple of months before that. I had auditioned for Shapiro West, Diane Barnett. They had Jerry. Jerry's show was on, and Macaulay was at of course, Macaulay trolling at the Melrose Improv.
The Booker,
and,
yeah.
The Booker, Jim Macaulay.
Yeah.
And I was up on stage, and he's looking at me. He looks at George Shapiro, and he goes, "You handle this kid right here?" He goes, "No, we're looking at him." He goes, "Well, if you handle him, tell him, to put some stuff together and to give me a call in a weekend to come by my office." And so when I got off, they go, "Hey, we think we got you the Tonight Show." Yeah, fucking do anything, but they were standing right next to Jim Macaulay. And they did nothing. Got Diane Barnett, who, God rest her soul, told me on the phone, yelled at me when I was asking about showcases, yelled at me, "Nobody wants to see you," on the phone. "You don't understand. Nobody wants to see you." That was my manager, Shapiro West. That was Diane Barnett. Fucking yelled at me.
So
nobody wants to see you.
So you signed with them after that? Or you were working with them?
But I was ready to go after that. Mr. Star on the Walk of Fame, syndication, fucking wax figure in the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Nobody wants to see you.
So you remember that too, right? You'll never forget that.
I remember every motherfucking person. I remember every fucking ding, every dent. The greatest. I saw Marty Klein came to see me. God rest his soul. Great dude. One of the great agents, Marty Klein.
Right.
Marty Klein sees me at Igby's. I'm green, man. It's like 88.
Yeah.
89. Sees me. Harvey Elkin, who had everybody go through him at one time. Literally the Broadway Danny Rose of fucking, Hollywood comedians. Marty Klein signed me, didn't do anything with me. And then we went in there for a meeting, and Marty Klein doesn't know who the fuck I am. And he goes, "Well, who's your agent?" It's Danny Robinson. Bud Robinson's son was a younger guy, looked like the Critic, big stomach, mustache. So they bring him into the office, and I'm standing there, and Marty Klein looks at Danny Robinson and goes, "Would you start to work on getting this kid some work?" And he's like, what the it's all for show.
I know.
And he goes, yeah. And as he's leaving, Danny Robinson looks down at me, and he looks up and he goes, "Hey, nice shoes."
Yeah.
So cut to, I have my television show on.
Yeah.
It's been on like 2 years. Lowell Sanders is doing Comic View. He says, "Hey, will you introduce me for Comic View?" I said, "Nah, I'm working, dude." He goes, just it'll take 5 minutes, man. Just leave. You can introduce me, and then you can go back to work. I said, "I don't know, Lowell, man." I was like, "How can you leave, So I left. I went over there, got out of my car. I'm still like in the show thing, like a suit.
Yeah.
Almost like that scene in Goodfellas where they walk in, they go down the stairs, they go through the kitchen, they go through the back. He walks on the stage. I go, "Here's a guy, Lowell Sanders." They go crazy. I leave. I walk back out. People are like tapping me on the back. "Hey, George Lopez." "All right, George Lopez." The last dude at the door is fucking Danny Robinson. And I walk up to him. I look down like this. I look up. I go, "Nice shoes." I fucking took off. It's the last thing I said to him.
Even. You're even.
It was the spite. I don't think it's healthy.
No, I know.
But I think somebody who succeeded against high odds knows, when we were doing the television show, the woman who played my mother came in. She was an acting coach.
Yeah.
Went to school with Powers Booth. Was related, worked with all these incredible actors. And she comes in one day and she's very demure. She's like, "I need to ask you a question. Like, how did all this happen? Like, what motivated you?" And I go, "Spite."
Yeah.
fucking Spite.
Me too, dude.
And she goes, that's not very healthy. I said, hey, got your ass here.
Oh man,
It is the